Welcome back to the Dover International Speedway here in Dover, Delaware for the 10th race of the 2002 NASCAR Winston Cup Series here on JRTV. It is the MBNA Platinum 400 at Dover. I'm Joe Rokoski, alongside me, Trey Bardo. Trey, you've won here many times in the past, almost won here in your final season in 2000. Got passed late by Matthew Burnett in the number 16. And as of late, Trey, this has been Roush Racing's playground. They've won the last two races with Jordan Stout last season and Matthew Burnett in 2000. So, Trey, Roush has three cars starting inside the top 7 here today. Do you think they can go for 3 straight Dover wins here in the Winston Cup Series?
I mean, Joe, it seems like they're one of the top teams so far this season. They were one of the top teams last season, too. So, I mean, I can't say I'd be surprised if they end up pulling it off.
And it looked like they were going to have even better odds. They were set to have 4 cars start inside the top 8 here today. Unfortunately, Zachary DeLello, who was set to start in 7th, failed post-qualifying inspection. He'll start way at the back in 38th. Joining him back there, also failing inspection, the number 12, Mitchell Collins, was set to start mid-pack. He'll start back in 39th now, but Roush still has 3 bullets in the barrel, with Matthew Burnett starting in 2nd, Keyshawn Richardson starting in 5th, and Jordan Stout starting in 7th. We'll see if one of them can get to victory lane, make it 3 straight for Roush Racing here at Dover. But a team that's also been really good this season so far, Trey, Richard Childress Racing has many wins, has Sebastian Cucalon leading the points, but here yesterday at Dover, they did not have the best of days. They weren't great in practice and in qualifying. Their highest qualifier was Conrad Evans in 12th, Atkins just inside the top 20, and Sebastian Cucalon the second slowest car of anyone on the racetrack. After we sent some cars home and some cars failed inspection, their highest starter is Conrad Evans in 11th, Atkins just inside the top 20, Cucalon way back in the field as well. So Trey, what is up with RCR here today at Dover?
I don't know. Maybe it's just not their track, Joe. They might be stumbling a little bit, which, Joe, if they stumbled this small amount, then that should be saying something because, Joe, they've been on fire recently, so hopefully they can get over this slump. But I don't know. It's strange to see that.
And it will be interesting at a track as hard to pass as it is here at Dover. Cucalon starting at the back of the field does not bode well for his points lead, so maybe someone like his teammate Evans can get to the points lead. Keyshawn Richardson and Matthew Burnett also close to the points lead. They start inside the top 5, so watch for someone other than Cucalon to maybe leave Dover as the points leader exiting the 10th race of the season. And another team to talk about, another team that has been disappointing so far this season and very disappointing here at Dover, is Hendrick Motorsports. They have done amazing here in the past, and they only have one car that qualified inside the top 20. That was Jay Randall, who qualified in 9th. He'll start 8th today because of DeLello failing inspection. Their next highest driver is Keegan Thompson back in 19th. He actually qualified 21st. And then the biggest shocker are 2 of maybe the best Dover racers that we've had in the last 2 seasons. Justin Seidel and Brett Sierra qualified outside the top 35. They start just inside the top 35 here today at Dover. But Trey, you think about, the last 2 seasons, Brett Sierra has led laps here at Dover. Justin Seidel started on pole here last season and led laps. But here today, yesterday during qualifying, they did not have it at all, and the drivers, they seemed a little anxious and a little bit, angry about the results they were getting so far this season.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the internals of Hendrick here recently, but I don't know if it's going to be looking too good here in the next little bit of this season, Joe, because it does not seem like you have anyone happy at that shop. I mean, Joe, if you don't have happy drivers, you're not going to have a happy team.
And it makes me think, Ryan Wilson, the team owner, maybe he should try something internally. Maybe switching up some teams, right? We saw with RCR last season, they did not perform well. Over the offseason, they switched teams around. They moved Cucalon to the number 29. They moved Atkins from the 29 to the 30, and that really helped the whole organization, it seems like, thrive. They're all, on the up and up. Maybe Hendrick Motorsports needs to do something mid-season here, Trade. The 48 seems to be running well, but maybe start swapping around the 5 or the 24 teams to 25 teams. Just do something to try and get themselves on the right path, because moving up to 4 teams, that is a hard task, adding a whole nother team to your shop. But I think they have to do something else to try and just push past that barrier of the 4th car getting into the shop.
Yeah, I don't know what they would have to do. Maybe switch around, crew chiefs, smaller things like spotters, maybe whole pit crews, maybe, like you said, drivers themselves. They got to find something here to get them going.
And we'll see if they can do that. Obviously, we'll see if Randall or Thompson, who start inside the top 20, if they can make noise for Hendrick here today, as they had made noise the last 2 races here at Dover. We'll see what happens here today. As we look at our Ford Fast Facts here for the Dover International Speedway in Dover, Delaware, clear skies. It's a beautiful day for racing at 67 degrees Fahrenheit, 5 miles an hour wind in the northwest direction, and a small 10% chance of rain here at Dover. It is set to be an 80-lap race, 80 miles in length, and the field window is 42 to 48 laps, so watch for that. In the past 2 races, the undercut has won the race, pitting sooner than anyone has gotten that driver to victory lane. We'll see if it works just like that here today, or if some other strategy could come into play. As we look at the track facts at Dover, it's a mile in length with 24 degrees of banking in the turns and 9 degrees on the straightaways. It's a very highly banked racetrack here at Dover. The track was opened in 1969, held its first NASCAR Winston Cup Series race here in 1981, and Roush has won 3 of the last 5 Dover races, and that includes Ford's wins in 6 of the last 8 Dover races. That came from 2 teams, 3 from Roush, 3 from the Wood brothers. We have 4 of those cars, 1 Wood brother and 3 of the Roush cars starting inside the top 10 at Dover here today. We'll see if they can continue that string for Ford here today. But it's a Pontiac on pole. Joe Gibbs Racing has Chris Jericho on pole with Mathis Wells' teammate back in 9th. We'll see if one of them can get to victory lane here at Dover as we'll go down trackside to fire the engines up for the 10th race of the 2002 NASCAR Winston Cup Series season.
Drivers, start your engines!
42 cars filter off pit road here at Dover to do battle in the MBNA Platinum 400. And as we talk about the man in 6th place here, Trey Zachary Fitzwater Jr. has had a great race weekend here at Dover. Top 10 in practice, top 10 in qualifying, finished top 10 in this race last season. Can he possibly find a way to continue that momentum he's had as of late, trying to move up into the top 20 in points?
Yeah, I mean, looks like so far, if he can continue to ride it, like you said, he'll get top 20, and he's starting 6th right now, so that's definitely what you want to do here.
And then just a few rows behind him, in 9th place to start, Mathis Wells. His teammate is on pole, Chris Jericho. Last race, Wells was on pole, dominated the first half, leading the most laps of the race, but after pit stops, could never recover, finished outside the top 20. Trey, could this be redemption for Mathis Wells?
I mean, we know that they got speed. We know that whole stable's got speed. So if they can clean up their pit stops on the green flag run here, I don't see what's stopping this team.
Well, the pace car is in. Wells' teammate Jericho on pole, Burnett to his outside. 80 laps about to get underway at Dover. Green flag is in the air for the 10th race of the Winston Cup Series season. Great jump on the start for Burnett on the outside, but Jericho just held it to the bottom of 1 and 2, made it work. Now Edwards goes for a second. He gets forced high by Keyshawn Richardson. Jericho handily leads the first lap. He's gotten away. Here comes Richardson for a second. His mate Stout and Mathis Wells on the inside with them. As we can see our racetrack, the inside, the place to be on the starts and restarts.
Yeah, definitely right now, and the real thing is you got to keep your car on that bottom there to keep the momentum going, as a 6 actually went high, but he was able to clear himself back down low, so good for him. The 31's going to get pushed up the track by your outside pole sitter here.
Yeah, Matthew Burnett trying to come back to the front, to starting in 2nd. Atkins moved Nathan Orman aside, so he moves a spot further forward. Keegan Thompson was very distraught after qualifying, said, just let me leave this team. I don't know what they're doing. Well, now he's moved up inside the top 10, racing up here in that number 5, trying to get down from Luke Rennie, keep that spot inside the top 10, and will do it. And now Atkins under fire from Orman. He had just passed the 66, but Orman's coming back. Luke Rennie tapped by Hunter Reed. What a great save by both those drivers. Oh, it's not over.
Done. Wow, that would have been painful if that would have went into the inside wall.
Yes. Oh, Fitzwater's in the wall.
No.
Yepez hits him as well, and that's another great save.
He's so straight.
Everyone is trying to get around Fitzwater. Tons of right side damage, but somehow the car is still in one piece and still going straight, as you mentioned.
How are we still straight?
Oh, there they go back there.
Again.
Nathan Stapleton is in the inside wall in the 71.
Luckily,
no yellow.
At the back.
It
is at the back, so it looks like there's not too much damage, so he's able to keep it going. Joe, there was 5 different wrecks that should have happened there.
And then only one did happen. Here's the battle for 3rd place. Mathis Wells moving to the inside of Jordan Stout for 3rd into turn 1. At the moment, Joe Gibbs Racing and Roush Racing putting on a show. All of those top 5 positions are held by 5 cars from those 2 organizations.
Yeah, I forgot there was a race for up front here with everything happening in the back. Uh-oh.
Luke Rennie up the hill. Had to check up big time. Here comes Hunter Reed.
Are we going to play nicer this time with these two?
Trey, look at this recovery. Justin Zeidel started 31st. He's raced his way, probably by pure anger, inside the top 10.
I don't know how he did that. That was quick, and we're only 7 laps into this thing, Joe.
Yeah, maybe he's a car to watch for to maybe win this race. If it's that fast in these first 7 laps, who knows how far he can get up through the field. Look at this mess.
Yeah, they're still trying to figure stuff out back here. Luckily, it's contact-free this time. And, Joe, talk about the 77.
Yeah, how about this? Jason Albert, his first ever Winston Cup Series race on short notice. It was on Tuesday when it was announced that Jack Haas would miss out, have to sit out this race because doctors advised him, hey, nothing's broken, you know, but just maybe take a week off to let everything heal because you are a little bit sore from that Texas World crash they had. So we hope that Haas, he should be back for Talladega. We hope he will be back to join us in this number 77 car at Talladega. But for Albert, this is not his only race of the season. He is filling in. However, he is set to drive the number 67 second Jasper car for the Super Speedway races, and that is next race at Talladega. So watch for Albert at number 67. I mean, Trey, this is Albert's lucky he's in front of this because I think he would be having a heart attack if he saw this in front of him.
I thought we were really going to attempt 4 wide coming off of 4 there.
Well, Luke Rennie's still getting shoved to the outside. There's our points leader, Cucalon, moving through the field pretty nicely, still trying to do so. Orman tapped the outside wall in the 66. He's dropping back. And for Albert, this is a really good recovery so far in that number 77. Didn't qualify that well, but now he's raced his way up into the top 20 and 18th, and he needs to beat that number 22, Nathan Baird, because in the owner's points, those cars are on either side of the cut line. And, I mean, it is oh so close, straight 1 point between them from 35th to 36th. That is the difference between being locked into the next race or having to race your way in.
Yeah, and definitely. And, I mean, him doing this is only helping that 77. But, like you said, next week is what? Dega?
Yep.
It's Dega. We're acting like it's Dega this week. So, if that says anything, Joe, you better be ready.
Well, Jordan Edwards' 83 car may have started in 3rd place, but doesn't have the race pace so far. He's dropped back now behind Atkins to 8th place, and now under fire for 9th and 10th.
Ooh,
Hernandez,
contact.
I think, just bullied Keegan Thompson to the outside lane, trying to get the 9th place spot. And Hernandez has all of that momentum for the last few races on his side, and he's driving like it. Now teammates will go at it for 10th place. It is Thompson into the wall on the outside, and Zeidel is through to 10th. Hunter Reed, the rookie, through to 11th.
That was a hard smack there for the 5.
It was, and luckily, though, he kept it going straight. But you have to, you know, all these cars hitting the wall as Hernandez and Edwards getting close. Those are affiliate teammates, by the way.
Yeah, this one car is driving like it's his last day or something. Like he's got to prove something. We're not even a quarter way into the race. He knows that, right?
Well, his teammate Eli Bright won last race at Texas World, and I think Hernandez, now knowing that he's the only DI guy not to have a win in his career, he wants to get one sooner rather than later. As Edwards continues his fall back, is now Hunter Reed moves inside the top 10. Really good run for this rookie Trey, who has so far this season been super consistent.
No, 100%. And honestly, I wasn't surprised to see him, you know, starting up near the front again. So we'll have to see if they can continue that spiel going on, as these two are still just battling it out here. I mean, they got 2 seconds up on 3rd place there in the 20, and these guys aren't even half of a second apart from each other.
Yeah, they have 2 seconds over the field. They're gaining every lap, and they're only 2/10 apart. So it's very, very close for the lead, but behind them, it's pretty spread out through the rest of the top 5. Stout maybe trying to gain a little bit on Matthew Burnett, who's trying to gain on Wells, but I think that number 6 is faster than the 17, and the 20 might be just a little bit faster than the 17. RCR's had a good recovery with Atkins up to 6th. He's just passed Conrad Evans, his teammate. Evans back in 7th in the number 31, but considering they didn't have a car starting inside the top 10, to have 2 currently running 6th and 7th, really good recovery. They have Hernandez in 8th, Zeidel in 9th, Reed currently in 10th, 11th place is now Thompson, Edwards is 12th, Spurgeon is 13th, Mitchell Collins started last, 39th in this race. He's up inside the top 15 to now 14th as Spurgeon moves aside on Jordan Edwards to get that spot. Eli Bright Trey up inside the top 15. He did not start well here today. DeLello also failed an inspection, started back in 38th. He's up to 16th, so Trey, a lot of passing mid-pack here and all around. I mean, oh my gosh! Edwards!
They are not... Look at the damage on that side of the car.
Yeah, that has to be hurting the car, and maybe even might cut a tire down if it's
wow.
These
guys are not handling this exit of 2 very well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it could. I mean, it is a little bit windier here today than it was the past day, you know, on the racetrack. Could it be something with the wind there?
I don't know, but that was one of the hardest hits we've seen. I mean, Keegan Thompson hit it too, but I don't think it was that aggressive.
No, it was not. As we just saw up there, out of screen. Hernandez got by Conrad Evans, so the number 1 up to 7th. And now it's a battle for 8th. Evans on the outside, Zeidel on the inside. They almost come together on corner exit, but they race side by side to turn through. Zeidel, the preferred lane, should get his way up to 8th place. And Trey, I really hope that his pit crew can perform on pit road because he's had a great recovery from 31st place.
Yeah, definitely. It's always comes down to those green flag pit stops where, you know, it could either go for you or go against you. So we'll have to see what happens whenever it comes to that time here. But this 31 is falling back. I don't know if he used up his stuff or maybe he just doesn't have a long run car or something.
Yeah, it is weird. He was, you know, moving up there pretty well at the start, but now he's really falling back. Here comes Hunter Reed to his inside, a little bit further back. Some other drivers that didn't have great qualifying results or did have good qualifying results that dropped back. Evan Hunter's moved up to 22nd. He was the slowest of anyone in qualifying after an issue. Now he's up to 21st. Jay Rando, the highest starting Hendrick car, slid back to 23rd. Laura Chung and Sarah Kirchner moved up inside the top 25 from their poor starting spots. Cucalon just behind them at 26th as this battle's still going on. Reed climbed the banking. Evans to the inside. Here comes Riley Spurgeon to make a 3-car race for this spot.
Yeah, that 45 had to check up a bunch. I mean, that was it almost looked like he hit the brake more than just tapped it. That was a very weird motion in the car there. So maybe, like you said, I think he just climbed the banking and he got a little nervous there and just decided to really hit the brakes and almost collected the 31 into an accident that we didn't need. But hopefully he can recover his stuff here.
That dropped Hunter Reed 2 spots to 11th place. Riley Spurgeon 2 from Robert Yates Racing, currently up inside the top 10 with Evans just in front of him. In 9th, Zeidel is 8th. Hernandez, one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, is in 7th. And Justin Atkins might be the fastest car on the racetrack. That number 30, the only RCR car not to win so far this season, up to 6th place, gaining on the cars in front and trying to maybe get his way up inside the top 5 and get close enough to the leaders because, Trey, you know from 2000 in this race, a lap or 2 or 3 of an undercut can gain you up to 3 or 4 seconds over the cars in front of you.
Yeah, it's honestly crazy. You wouldn't think it does that much, but Joe, like I said, these green flag pit stops at this track are going to be the make or break of it because they could honestly win you the race. And I mean, we'll have to see how it goes. As we're finally catching the lap car, the 71 of Stapleton, who was spun around, but NASCAR decided not to throw the caution for it.
Yeah, kept it green, and Stapleton has so far stayed on the lead lap and actually hasn't fallen too far off. I don't know if he ever really hit the wall with that number 71. I think he may have just done a lazy spin, maybe got it with the right side, but otherwise that car is perfectly fine. Honestly, that right side's better than some of the other right sides we've seen with cars hitting the wall here today, so I think he's fine to keep going, and unfortunately just lost all that time and hasn't been able to get it back because there has been no caution flag. Yeah,
very unique call from NASCAR, but I'd be lying if I said that's the first time we've seen something from them.
Yeah, we've seen many questionable caution calls in the past, and this could be another one to add in, especially if you're Nathan Stapleton, who has been having a good string of races as of late, you know, Martinsville and the Texas world, but here today it's not going to be the race he was wanting unless something crazy happens over the rest of this race. It's still Jericho leading. His teammate Wells currently in 3rd place. Then you have Burnett in 4th and Stout still 5th, but Trey, here is the man who's moving. Atkins to the inside of Stout, going for that top 5. He just rotated that corner so well. These RCR cars were not fast in qualifying, but Trey, they have the race pace here today, and also behind these two, watch for Hernandez to move up in that number 1 car.
Yeah, this 30 is on something else right now. Stout almost tagged the wall coming off of 2 there, but he cleared Stout by, what is that, 3-4 car lengths coming off of 2.
Yeah, now he has his sights set on Matthew Burnett. Here comes Anthony Hernandez trying to go for 6th on Jordan Stout.
Yeah, this either Stout's dying off or some of these longer run cars are starting to wake up here.
Well, that's a man who's currently dying off. Conrad Evans has fallen outside the top 10, currently back in 13th position. Eli Bright and Keegan Thompson are next up to pass him in 14th and 15th. So Evans, who is battling for a top 10 spot, now trying to fight to stay inside the top 15. That 31 not set up for the long run, or he just drove the wheels off that car trying to make passes work early on in this race.
Yeah, definitely. Joe, do you look out that window? You see any battles going on? Seems like we're starting to get really spread out here.
Yeah, it is getting strung out a little bit, but Trey, I mean, with this 1 car gaining on the 6, I think we'll have a battle pretty soon, and then maybe we'll have the 24 battle on the 6 too, because Zeidel is looking pretty fast here.
He is, and Joe, I mean, think of what happened here last season, right? That 24 there was
pretty fast,
pretty strong, and then I mean, what green flag pit stops wasn't he? He just died off.
Well, he actually he came in sooner than anyone on green flag pit stops, got the lead, and then it was just late in the race. He was bound with lap traffic, and Jordan Stout got by him in the number 6. The 6 was just outpaced him. Zeidel still got 2nd in that race, but maybe looking for some redemption here. He's obviously 7.5 seconds back. Would need something big to happen. Trying to have a shot here today, but I mean, we've seen crazier things happen in these NASCAR Winston Cup Series races.
Definitely. And talking about lap cars here, that Richardson just dropped a 10th off from Jericho there, stuck behind the 71 of Stapleton. And honestly, I'm going to have to suspect it might be another 10th here coming around back to the start-finish line. We'll see what the timer says.
Yep.
Yeah, it is another 10th.
He just cannot get by. I'm still stuck behind him in that number 99 car, still in his back bumper. Here's the battle for 6, tightening up Trey. Hernandez has gained. He's right in the back bumper. Jordan Stout will see if he can try and dispose of the 6 just as fast as the 30 did. You see the 1 turned right down to the bottom of the racetrack, right on the back of the 6.
Over him.
Down into 3, still not pulling out, trying to maybe push him into the corner, push him off the racetrack.
When's he going to use the bumper? Oh, right here maybe?
Got to the inside, to the quarter panel.
Clean.
Hernandez for 6th place, down to the inside, turn 1 in the number 1. A spot closer to the front. He moves by Jordan Stout. Now Stout's next enemy is going to be Justin Zeidel on the 24, but here comes Atkins trade again on the number 17 of Matthew Burnett.
Does this like stuff not die out underneath this car or something? Because it seems like he's been pushing it this entire time. It has not slowed down.
There's like a protective layer on those Goodyear tires or something. I don't know, but he is still flying. And I mean, if we get a yellow flag, watch out for Justin Atkins, because he would be the one to maybe get up there and steal the show from the front two, who have separated by a second now. Richardson just got around Stapleton, but lost about 0.8 of a second, Trey, while doing it. Now Jericho's deal with Baby Ruiz and Nathan Baird and some of these others. So now we've got the tail end of the field just before pit stops.
Yeah, this will be this can make or break it, because Joe, you get slowed up here with coming up with pit stops, you could lose a lot of time. But I mean, if you get past these cars pretty easily and catch them at good spots, it could actually help you out here. But I'm curious to see how long it takes this 30 to get past the 17.
We'll have to see. He flew around the 6 last time. He turned it to the bottom of the racetrack. We'll see what he can do this time. Richardson gained a few tenths last lap. Now gained another half a tenth that lap. So 99 is cutting back into the 18's lead, most likely due to the lap traffic Jericho has caught. Now Atkins has to find a way around Matthew Burnett, or does he just wait there for pit stops and try and get by him on some pit strategy?
I mean, if you have the car, you might as well pass him on the track, right? Because that's one less car you got to try to worry about passing on pit road here. But I can't tell if the 30 is faster than the 17 or not. He's definitely caught into the back of him, but it doesn't seem like he can really get past him.
I think he's faster, but Trey, as we mentioned, catching is one thing, passing is another, especially at a track like Dover. It's hard to make passes work. And speaking of passes, Zeidel moved around Jordan Stout from number 24 up to 7th. Stout all the way back to 8th in that number 6. Atkins looking lower on that number 17. Burnett can't get the run to make it work, and they'll stay about a car length apart as halfway next time by, Trey, Jericho's led every lap so far from pole position, but pit stops are looming in the next 3 to 5 laps.
Last time around here, the 17 ran a little higher in 3 and 4. We'll have to see if he does it again. Looks like this time around he was able to stick it on the bottom, but yeah, right now it looks like the 30 kind of stalled out here. It might be peaking again, going into 1.
We got right to the back, but I think it was just too late of a run to make the move down to the inside work, as we've now completed 40 laps. Jericho's led all of them, so we know that he will get 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. Big, because at Texas World he did not have the best race and lost a lot of points. So if Jericho can at least just finish well in this race, he'd get a lot more points back, as he's actually catching the lap his championship rival from last season, Brett Sierra, in the 25, who led a lot of laps in this race last season.
Yeah, what's happened with Sierra this race?
Yeah, he just had that poor qualifying result. And unlike his teammate Zeidel or some of the others, he has not been able to make up ground.
He's probably not the happiest in that car right now. I don't think I'd want to hear the radio right now, because it probably isn't the nicest.
No, probably not. As Mathis Wells is there trying to... I mean, you can see how slow these guys are going now through these corners. These tires have worn out big time.
And that's where you mentioned that, you know, pit stops, that's where you gained a couple of tenths, because, I mean, that newer tires, you're so much faster, and like you said, you can physically see how slow these guys are, especially with Jericho. He's in a lot of traffic right now.
He is, and Keyshawn Richardson is catching him. So far, Trey, none of these front guys are making that move onto pit road. They're all staying out, staying pretty cordial right now. No one daring to make that aggressive move into pit lane.
I'm in pro, my goodness.
I would want to pit if I'm Chris Jericho.
Yep, look at this.
Look at that's the points leader that he's about to lap in that 29.
That'll be that might shake this Joe. After this, I think the points might be shaken up a bit.
I think so. Cucalon has not had the day he's wanted, and still, Trey, no one coming into pit lane.
What is Jericho going to do with this? Oh, my goodness.
Try and push by the 29. Jack Carter also on the outside of the 21. He's pushing Brett Sierra to the inside of the 25. But here comes Keyshawn Richardson up into this battle as well, as still, Trey, no one, as Stapleton will come in, but he's a lap car. No one in the front is coming into pit road.
That's impressive as our Justin finally gets to the inside of Burnett here on the in the 17. Is he going to be able to finish off the pass through 1 and 2 here? He might be able to clear him coming off of 2. He did.
He did, so move Atkins a spot further forward as Keyshawn Richardson now has to... Oh, he's going to pit. He's going to undercut Chris Jericho here.
That was honestly one of the smartest plans, I think, because he caught so far up to Jericho with him being in that lap traffic that if he undercuts him here, he might have a pretty big gap coming off.
Mathis Wells, Atkins, Spurley, Stout obviously coming in, Hunter Reed, Collins, and Eli Bright. So it's feeding time on pit road here, Trey.
This pit road's always the sketchiest. Luckily, everyone who isn't coming in goes around high as Jericho finally comes in the pit road as well.
Yep, so he'll surrender. Well, I don't think he'll surrender the lead because I don't think anyone is daring to stay out a lap longer. So Jericho's still continuing to lead every lap here at Dover. We'll see. You know, the Evernham cars sometimes like to play some weird strategy. It looks like Laura Chung will be coming in this time, Lathan Strickland, some of the others. So the big
Where's
thing to watch
Lawrence?
Here, yeah,
where's Lawrence? He's normally the one that does it.
Well, Keyshawn Richardson leaving pit road, so we'll have to see where Chris Jericho leaves pit road. The 18 into his pit stall now. We'll have to see with a lap.
Oh, they're 3 wide coming off the pit road.
And look at that, they have to check up. And now Eli and Evans will race side by side off pit road.
No, Eli's going to have to concede it.
He will.
Where is Richardson at?
A lap, fresher tires for Keyshawn Richardson. There goes Jericho leaving. There is Keyshawn Richardson. And around he goes. The 99 is going to inherit the lead of this race by a wide margin.
It's going to be a huge margin, Joe. This might be near 5 seconds.
Jericho will finally get up to speed. He'll looks like keeps second off teammate Mathis Wells. But Keyshawn Richardson has the lead of this race by, as you mentioned, probably a country mile.
We'll have to see what it says when he finally gets
4
around.
seconds.
Wow, what an undercut by this 99 team.
And as you mentioned, they did that perfectly. He was just about to catch that big group of cars that Jericho had wasted a bunch of time in, so they pitted so that they didn't have to catch the group of cars, and Jericho was still in the middle of all those cars, and it resulted in about a 4.5 second swing in favor of Keyshawn Richardson.
That is crazy. Now the real question is that 4.5 seconds going to stay at that, or is Richardson going to catch some lap traffic that's going to hurt him?
Oh, he has a lot of cars in between he and Jericho as well. The next car is Laura Chung, who is currently running in 20th. We have 20 cars on the lead lap here after pit stops.
That's shocking.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? Teammates, I think, might battle for a second. Jericho cannot get those tires up to temper. The set of tires aren't agreeing. Mathis Wells is flying and right up to his back bumper. It might go around him here in turns 3 and 4.
It makes you wonder if they might have tampered with that 18 car to kind of help him here on the long run. But, I mean, Joe, we're not on the long run yet after the pit stop. So It might be hurting him right now. And maybe a little bit of a teammate help here. I mean, this is, like we've said, arguably the best working team together. So maybe that 20 ain't going to push Jericho. Looks like he actually backed off a little bit here. So we'll have to see if Jericho can hopefully get his tires going there and those two can work themselves up. Or eventually, after a given amount of time, Wells says, I'm just going to do it myself.
Yeah.
Well, Wells said he's going to do it himself.
Yeah, he got a great run through 3 and 4 down to the inside.
But Never mind.
Yeah, he kind of, I think he lifted a little bit there to let the 18 back in line.
Maybe he didn't want to get that run, and he was, I honestly would be a little nervous to push him on that front straight too, just because it's angled a little bit. So, like I said, they might be trying to give Jericho the go-ahead here.
Yeah, they might be trying, but I don't know. That 20 car at the moment just looks faster, right? You almost don't want to waste what is fast right now to have what might be fast later in the run.
Yeah, and probably what's not helping Jericho either is that 10 of Tim Gary in front of him there. Probably hurting that the air around him a little bit there, so that might be another reason to choose why. But like you said, this 20 arguably, and I agree, seems fast. He's got another big run here. Is he going to try to go to the inside? Joe, he holds off again.
Yeah, he was looking, but just didn't make it work down to the inside. The good thing for them is that they have a wide margin back to the next car on the lead lap, the number 30 of Justin Atkins, over 2 seconds. But here we go. This is going to be the pass, I think, right there. No, it's not. Oh,
I don't know if Jericho knew he was clear. It almost looked like he shut the door on him.
Yeah, it was very close. Now Wells again looking low, and this time he has it to the inside. Jericho slams the outside wall in the 18. He'll have to surrender a second to Mathis Wells, and might have to now try and just keep that car limping around to the finish.
Yeah, that's major damage on the right side there. It's definitely concaved in. And Joe, might be weird to hear this, but I think that was driver error on the 18's part.
I think it was. I don't think
there was any contact.
I think maybe he heard inside and got nervous, right? Just moved
yeah.
up the racetrack and it missed his line and he got into the wall because of it.
I mean, you watched it live. There was no contact between teammates there. And like you said, I honestly just think 18 just went up a half a lane too much. And if you get too high coming off of exit of 2, Joe, you're going into that outside wall.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate for Jericho, but luckily he's still in 3rd place and is still keeping a decent gap, 2 seconds back to Atkins. So we'll see if he can hold it throughout the next 23 laps. There's Atkins in the 30, next car in the lead lap. Riley Spurgeon was in 5th. We have to go ways back to him. He has a miracle of 2 teammates from Roush, the number 17 of Matthew Burnett, the number 6 Jordan Stott. The last 2 winners here at Dover are the drivers of the number 17 and the number 6. They're back in 6th and 7th. Hernandez is now in 8th in the number 1 car. And then 9th is DeLello. There he is right there. So he's moved up nicely from back of the field. And then 10th place is Hunter Reed in the 45. You have Collins in 11th, Luke Rainey in 12th. Evan Hunter's moved up nicely to 13th. Zidell Trey again pit road. Dropped him to 14th after moving up nicely. They have Eli Bright 15th. Evans back in 16th. Nolan Lawrence is 17th. They have Rando 18th. You have a really good run for Albert in 19th, and Laura Chung, last car in the lead lap in 20th. Then our leader, Keyshawn Richardson, 5 seconds up on Mathis Wilson, the 20, with now 20 laps to go.
Look at that, Joe. 10th place. It's 10 seconds back. That's just crazy to think about. Or not even 10 seconds back. 10th place is 14 seconds back. 15 seconds if you want to round it.
14.8 seconds back, and it grows every lap. Keyshawn Richardson keeping a nice 5-second gap to Mathis Wells as we look at our Advanced Auto Parts question of the week. From last week, we had asked which is the best track length for an oval track. Well, Trey, the fans agreed once again at 1 to 1.5 miles at 46%.
Joe, my record is just crazy.
I was honestly shocked after Eli Bright won at Texas World, which was a very big fan favorite win. That 1.5 to 2 mile tracks didn't win because Texas World is a 2 mile track.
Well, I mean, the question was during the race. It wasn't at the end of it. So, I mean, you asked that again, it might be a little different now.
Yeah, maybe now if we asked it, Texas World and 2 mile tracks would be the...
right, I might have to switch my answer, too.
Yeah, it would be the big winners. As Laura Chung is about to get lapped in that number 9 by the number 99, Keyshawn Richardson. Our Advanced Auto Parts question of the week here for Dover. As we know, Dover only has 39 pit stalls. They can only hold 39 cars on this racetrack. We normally start 42 in a race, so we drop 3 more cars than we normally do in this race. So, Trey, should we go to Dover if we still have these pit stall issues, yes or no?
No. Because, I mean, come on, right? If we're going to be one thing with this sport, it might as well be consistent. And you have to consistently start the same amount of cars each and every week to make it fair, right? So I think if this track, which is, it's a great track, right? It gives out some great, battles in racing, but if they need to figure out their pit thing, because I honestly think we need to keep it consistent throughout all the races we go to.
You were talking about good racing. Keyshawn Richardson's last lap was almost a second slower than Mathis Wells as he got passed by both the 9 and the 15. Is the 99 falling off, or was that just an off lap for the 99 Keyshawn Richardson? It's under 4 seconds now. It was 5 seconds. It's 3.88. Now we opened it back up there, so it looks like it's all good for that number 99. In fact, Jericho's actually... Oh, well, Mathis is in traffic. That would do it, but
yeah,
Jericho's getting back. Oh! Brandon Beal and Chris Jericho bumping doors down the back straightaway.
I don't know if maybe Beal had a lower exit than Jericho was thinking he would have had there, and that's why they made contact, but that was a very unique scenario there. But we'll have to, maybe after this, if it hurts the 18 at all during it, which, I mean, with the damage the 18 has, I think he's already hurt as much as he can get it. But, might be close contact again. Watch this 21 hit the wall. I don't know how he kept it off.
Yeah, that was close. Too close for comfort right there between those two. And back here, Riley Spurgeon was inside the top 5, has fallen back. He obviously had some worse tires than the cars that passed him, like the 6, 17, the 1. So Spurgeon trying to fend off an 8th place, but he has another Roush car coming behind him, Zachary DeLello, so I don't know how hard he can try and fend that off. But Trey, what a great race here today for Roush Racing. We mentioned they won the last 2 races here at Dover, looking to make it 3 straight with Keyshawn Richardson, but all 4 of their cars are inside the top 10. Even after DeLello had to start back in 38th, they have them 1st, 5th, 6th, and 9th.
When was the last time all 4 of them finished in the top 10?
Probably sometime last. Well, I mean, Rockingham last season they got 1, 2, 3 and like what 6th or something. So
yeah, something like that.
That was something good as well for them.
Yeah, so I mean, they're no stranger to it, but it doesn't happen very often. So whenever we get to witness it, it's definitely something very happy to see here. And if they can keep it like this, I think they'll all go home pretty happy.
Here's another team that's having a good day. Robbery 8's Racing has both their cars inside the top 10 with Spirotube at 8th, as we had mentioned. Now Luke running up to 10th. So for Ford, it's been a really good day. They have Keyshawn Richardson up there, the 99, the 6, the 17, the 28, the 97, the 88. They have Trey, 6 of the top 10 drivers right now drive those blue ovals.
Joe, remember that earlier this race that 88 probably should have been in the garage?
Yeah, I remember a lot of cars that probably should have been in the garage earlier on.
Cars probably should have been in the garage. But yeah, we definitely had our fair share of close calls, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah, very much so. As here's a battle for 6. This could be a close call. Matthew Burnett and Anthony Nez. Now it's the end of the race. They're going to be going for it hard. 8 laps to go. They're battling for 6th place. Down into turn 1, Hernandez will take the spot away from Matthew Burnett, and now he's at sight set in the top 5 with the number 6 Torrance down just up the road.
We'll have to see if he's going to be able to have enough time to catch him. I mean, this one definitely looks like he has the speed. He had the speed at the end of the last run, too, so it wouldn't be surprising to see him, turn it up again, but I honestly would have to say the 6 might be the last position he can get unless something big happens to that 30.
Yeah, Justin Atkins pretty far up the road. He doesn't really have slow lap cars in front of him. The 29 drove away. The 25 is pretty far away. Then the 44 and the 66, I don't know if they're too terribly fast behind him. So I think the one of Hernandez's Max's peak might be 5th place. As we have a battle for 2nd going on, the teammates are going at it. Jericho is back by Mathis Wells.
I thought that 20 was going to do the same thing that the 18 did earlier in the race with that 32 below him, but he was able to correct himself, which was good. But, Joe, these guys are still going at it. Now, last time this happened, it was clean, and it looks like it's going to be clean this time as well.
Yeah, that number 6 just not really good on the long run, and it's showing here with now 5 laps to go. Hernandez moves around. He gets inside the top 5. He has a 2.5 to go to catch Justin Atkins. It's going to be hard to do, but if the 30 has some issues, he might be able to get up there. But now Jericho back up to 2nd, number 18. But once again, Keyshawn Richardson 5 seconds ahead with 4 laps to go. Something will have to go wrong to the 99 Trey for anyone else to have a shot to win this race. Here's 2 teammates going at it. Laura Chung and Nolan Lawrence battling for 20th and 21st.
So whenever you see your cars going at it there, do you get nervous?
A little bit, but it looks like Lawrence's car's really faded off here. So I think he's just trying to hang on to the end of this race, honestly.
How's what's with the update with your team there, Joe? Any big news?
Not really. I mean, we're pretty content at Evernham. We're just trying to find our way to consistently run up front, not necessarily just get those random finishes up at the front.
Any secret projects you're working on with any new maybe parts for the car?
I can't say that information out loud, Trey. There's gonna be people listening.
All right. Well, and you know what? I figured I'd see if I can get anything out of you.
And if there's any people listening, if it's Roush Racing drivers or team, they don't need to know anything because they have a driver out front leading by 5 seconds coming on to take the white flag. Keyshawn Richardson has dominated the second half of this race. He came into pit road earlier than anyone, and he left and had pulled away by about 5 seconds as he takes 1 lap to go at Dover, 1 mile left in trade. This will be Roush's 3rd straight victory here at Dover.
Joe, I think, 10 laps into this race, I think we had a good feeling it was either going to be the 18 or the 99 taking the checkered flag here, and I think we could have said our thoughts were going to be pretty good ones.
I think we could agree on that. Keyshawn Richardson comes off turn number 4, and he says, I want to fight for the championship. He takes Dover for his 2nd win of the season, and Trey, he could possibly be the points leader entering race number 11 at Talladega.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
did you see how close Hernandez was?
Hernandez got beside Atkins and within half a car of passing the 30.
I didn't think he was going to be able to catch him.
Yeah. And,
wow.
You know what? Half a lap more, he would have been the driver in 4th place.
Wow. I was surprised to see that. I was trying to look off of 4 to see where they were, and I wasn't expecting anyone to be next to each other.
No, that was very impressive drive by Hernandez in the last 3 or so laps to get up about a 1.5 seconds in those last 3 or 4 laps. Impressive drive there, but for Keyshawn Richardson, a very impressive drive for him. Trey dominant here in the second half at Dover. He didn't lead the most laps, but he led the ones that counted.
All right, that's all you need to do right there, and I'm assuming that's the guy right there who led the most.
Yeah, Chris Jericho.
Would probably be the 18.
The only other driver who led a lap here today was Chris Jericho. He led the most laps. So we had 2 drivers lead here today, and they finished 1-2 at Dover. Keyshawn Richardson winning by about 4.5 seconds off of pole sitter Chris Jericho, who will have to sell for a second, but a really good points day for that number 18, with Cucalon having the best of days, and along with Conrad Evans, that's really going to help a lot of drivers closing. Keyshawn Richardson, as we're looking at it, should leave as the points leader here at Dover. Mathis Wells, he gets a really good 3rd place finish. He really needs something to just up the spirits after a disappointing result at Texas World. 4th place to Justin Atkins, one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. If we had a yellow in the middle part of the race, who knows if maybe we could have closed everyone up enough to where Atkins maybe had a shot. Anthony Hernandez came within half a car length of beating that number 30. He has to settle for a top 5. Jordan Stout and Matthew Burnett battled all the way to the checkered flag. They end up 6th and 7th. Riley Spurtube in 8th. Zachary DeLello puts all 4 Roush cars inside the top 10 in 9th. And Luke Rainey joins his teammate Riley Spurtube also inside the top 10. Justin Zeidel moved up inside the top 10, but unfortunately the pit stop did not go his way. He battled back up though from about 15th place up to 11th, so Zeidel did fight back there at the end, got some spots, but unfortunately could not get that top 10 finish. In fact, no Hendrick cars got a top 10 here today. Evan Hunter moved from slowest car in qualifying to 12th placer today. Eli Brett a solid day in 13th. Hunter Reed, the rookie, in 14th. And Conrad Evans, a solid day with a top 15th. Then you have Mitchell Collins, Jay Brando, Lathan Strickland moved from the back. Same with Jason Albert in his one-off start in the number 77. He'll be back next week in the number 67 at Talladega. Laura Chung, last car in the lead lap in 20th. Many cars lapped down. Nolan Lawrence is the first of them. Tim Garriott down there. Sarah Kirchner. There's our points leader, Sebastian Cucalon. Brett Sierra finished in 27th. Never had the car at all here today. Nathan Ormond fell back along with Pez. You have Nathan Baird back here. Fitzwater from 6th to 32nd. Keegan Thompson had a dismal day in 33rd. Jack Carter a lap down, all the way down to Edwards, who started in 3rd. And Nathan Stifton, who spun around in that early spin in the number 71 on the front stretch. He finished a lap down in last place. As we look at the points leaving Dover, leaving the 10th race of the season, Trey, Cucalon's bad points day has closed it all up between the top 5.
Yeah, that's definitely not what he wanted out of this, but I mean, we know what's coming here soon, so it could definitely switch some things up here. So I don't think he should really get onto himself for one bad day, because I mean, like we've said before, that whole organization right now is arguably one of the best.
Yeah, they are up at the top with Roush Racing for sure, and unfortunately this was just an off week for them at Dover. But last season at Dover, they also had a pretty terrible day, and this was a lot better with Atkins showing speed, Evans having a decent day. They definitely showed speed at points during the race, and that was definitely something to look for. And the fact that we won't come to Dover again, they'll definitely appreciate. But something Sebastian Cucalon could appreciate to get behind for next race out. We're going racing at the track he won last season at, the Talladega Superspeedway, for the Aaron's 499 trade. We know that is going to be a wild card race, and that could also shape the rest of the season. If someone gets involved in the crash there, could it maybe derail the whole rest of their season?
You know what, Joe? Let's hope that there won't be a crash, right?
That is true. We have seen in the past Talladega races have gone clean, but we know how some of the drivers race at these super speedways. They know that might be their only chance to win this season. And Trey, we could see some of those smaller teams start pushing hard, trying to get up to the front, and it could cause some issues, and it could involve some drivers that are trying to battle for the championship.
Yeah, which is a scary thing. But I mean, hey, it's Dega. Anything could happen there. So we'll just have to show up there next week and see whatever happens.
Well, it's big congratulations for Keyshawn Richardson here today at Dover as he dominates and wins the MBNA Platinum 400. For Trey Bardo, I'm Joe Rokowski. So long from Dover. Tune in next week to JRTV for the Aaron's 499 at the Talladega Superspeedway.